All right, today we're diving into something that affects pretty much every single worker in Malaysia. We're talking about the massive updates to the Occupational Safety and Health Act, or OSHA for short. So let's jump right in.
So, I've got a question for you right off the bat. Is your workplace actually compliant with these new safety laws? It's a big question, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly what's at stake. Because, well, the entire rulebook has basically been thrown out and rewritten.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll look at why the law needed a big update, then we'll talk about who's protected now and what new responsibilities employers have. After that, we'll get into the new rights for employees, the seriously tough penalties for messing up, and finally, what this all means for creating a new culture of safety.
All right, first up, this major update. I mean, the law's been around for a while, right? So you might be wondering, why the massive refresh now?
You know, the original law back in 1994, it was a big deal. It really set the foundation. But just think about it. The workplace today is a totally different world compared to the 90s, right? We've got new tech, new jobs, new ways of working, and that means new kinds of risks the old law just wasn't built to handle.
And this right here, this shows you the single biggest change. Back in '94, the law was kind of patchy. It only covered certain industries, which meant a lot of people were left out. But the 2022 update, it completely changes the game. Now it applies to all workplaces, in every single sector. The main thing to remember is universal coverage. No one gets left behind. So that brings us right to our next point, protection for every single worker. It sounds great, but what does expanding the scope actually mean for you on a daily basis?
Well, it's pretty simple, really. The law now covers all economic sectors. It doesn't matter if you're in a high-rise office, on a construction site, making coffee, or even working from your kitchen table. You are now legally entitled to a safe workplace. The whole point is to make sure nobody falls through the cracks.
So who are we talking about specifically? Well, it's not just your typical 9-to-5 office job anymore. We're talking about workers in literally all industries. And it covers all kinds of work setups, formal, informal, and yep, that includes the gig economy. This is a huge, huge step in bringing the law into the 21st century.
Okay, so if more people are covered, that means responsibilities have gotten bigger too. And that brings us to the new duties for employers. This is a complete mind shift, really, moving from just reacting to problems to actively preventing them.
And this is really the heart of it. In the past, a lot of safety was about cleaning up the mess after something went wrong. Not anymore. The new law says you have to be proactive. It's not good enough to just respond to an accident. The legal requirement now is to see it coming and stop it before it even has a chance to happen.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it's a cycle. First, employers have to systematically hunt for any potential hazards. Then, they need to do a proper risk assessment to figure out how dangerous those hazards are. Step 3 is to put controls in place to get rid of or at least reduce the risk. And finally, and this is super important, they have to train everyone so they all know the safety procedures inside and out. But hey, this isn't all on the employers. This brings us to the rights and roles of employees, because the new law is all about creating a new balance of power and, shared responsibility. Now this is a real game changer. Listen to this. Workers now have the legal right to refuse unsafe work, and here's the kicker, without fear of getting in trouble for it. If you believe a situation is dangerous, you can remove yourself from it and you're protected by law. This really gives employees a powerful voice in their own safety. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? So with these new rights, employees also have new duties. You've got to follow the safety rules. You have to use the protective gear they give you. You need to make sure you're not putting yourself or anyone else at risk. And if you see something, say something. Report those hazards. At the end of the day, safety is everybody's business. Okay, so what if people don't follow these new rules? Well, that takes us to our next section, tougher rules, higher stakes. Let's just say the government has made it crystal clear that these new laws have some serious teeth.
Wow. I mean, just look at this chart. It pretty much says everything you need to know. The fines for not complying have gone through the roof. We're talking up to 10 times higher than they used to be. The message couldn't be clearer. Cutting corners on safety is going to cost you a lot more than just doing it right in the first place.
And it's not just about hitting companies in the wallet. For really bad cases, the new law brings in the possibility of jail time. Yeah, imprisonment. This makes it personal for company leaders and managers. It sends a signal that ignoring worker safety isn't just a mistake, it's a serious crime. So let's bring this all home. In our final section, we're talking about the new culture of safety. after all these changes, what's the big picture? What's the end goal for workplaces all across Malaysia?
It really comes down to three big ideas. First, shared responsibility. Safety is a team sport now, not just management's problem. Second, proactive risk management. The whole game is about preventing accidents before they happen. And third, modernized standards. This brings Malaysia in line with the best in the world, which is not only good for workers, but also makes businesses more competitive on a global scale.
So, we're going to end right where we started, by turning the question back to you. After hearing all this, take a second and think about your own workplace. Is safety just a box-ticking exercise, a checklist you have to get through? Or is it a real culture, something that everyone, from the top down, truly believes in? Because under these new laws, there's really only one right answer to that question.